necklace that we're going to make. This necklace is made with 4mm round beads and super duos. This is another example made with 4mm round beads and super duos. And this is another example made with 4mm bicone crystals instead of the round beads. And this is another example made with the crystals. So let's talk about the materials that we're going to need. For this necklace, you're going to need 4mm round beads, or you could also use 4mm crystals or even bicone crystals, as long as they're 4mm. You're going to need about 125 of them for a 16-inch necklace. You're also going to need 2 colors of super duos, as well as 11-0 seed beads, check seed beads, so not Toho, but the smaller check 11-0 seed beads, as well as 2 6 or 8 seed beads to put the jump rings through for the clasp. So let's get started. I'm using a size 10 needle with 6-pound fire line. This necklace is made with 4 rows, and we're going to start the first row by adding a super duo in one color, an 11-0 seed bead, a 6 or 8 seed bead, and an 11-0 seed bead. String that on. Then I want to go through the other hole of the super duo. And here's where I can tie a knot. From here, I'm going to go back through the super duo and the next seed bead. Continue through the large seed bead and back through the third seed bead and the super duo. Next, I'll add 2 super duos, checking both holes as I put it on the needle. This 11-0 seed bead, a super duo in the other color, and an 11-0, and I'll string that on. Next, I want to go through the other hole of the first color of super duo. And before this next step, I kind of want to flip everything around to make sure that this is going down, up, down, so that when I add another super duo, I'm going through the bottom hole of the first super duo and through the next seed bead. So at this point, we kind of have a diamond shape and a perpendicular super duo in the other color. I'm coming out of this seed bead here. I'm going to continue up through the large seed bead. And then I want to go through the top here, the seed bead, the 3 super duos, and this seed bead. Next, I add 3 11-ohs, and I'm coming out of this top seed bead. I want to go down through the tip of this super duo, the other side. I add 3 more 11-ohs, and I want to go up the other hole of the super duo. Then I want to continue through the 3 seed beads on top of the super duo. 1, 2, and 3. Pull that tight. Next, I put on the 4mm bead, 3 11-ohs, the super duo in the second color, and 3 11-ohs. String that on. Then I want to go down through the other hole of that super duo. Pull that tight. And then back up the 3 seed beads before the super duo. And pull that tight. Now I've got my second color, 2 of the second color super duos with a 4mm bead in between, and it's time for me to make another one of these diamonds. So I'll make that other diamond by starting with an 11-oh, 3 of the first color super duos, checking both holes, an 11-oh, a super duo in the second color, and an 11-oh, and string that on. And I want to go through the other hole of the first color super duo. And that sort of makes this perpendicular to that one. I finish off the diamond by adding a super duo in the first color and going through that first super duo. Then I want to add 1 11-oh seed bead, and if you notice there's 3 seed beads on this side, but there's 4 on this side. So I want to go through the tip of this super duo of the second color from the side that has 3 to the side that has 4. The side that has 4 is the top. So I'm going up towards that. Then I want to continue through this seed bead before the 3 super duos and this seed bead. And pull that through. And pull that tight. And now that we have this second color super duo, it's not framed yet, we're going to add 3 11-O's and go down through the tip of that super duo. And we'll add 3 more 11-O's and go up through the other side of that super duo. Then we want to continue through the 3 seed beads along the top here. 1, 2, and 3. And now that we have one of the second color super duos and it's framed, the next step is to add a 4mm bead, 3 11-O's, the second color super duo, and 3 11-O's, and string that on. Next, we want to go down through the other hole of the super duo we just added. Pull that tight, and then go through the 3 seed beads before it. Now that we've got the 2 second color super duos with the 4mm bead in between, it's time to make another diamond. And we start that by putting on an 11-O, 3 super duos of the first color, checking both holes, an 11-O, super duo in the second color, and an 11-O, and we string that on. Then we want to go through the other hole of the first color. Pulling that tight. And that creates the perpendicular that we want. We finish off this diamond by adding super duo in the same color and going through the other hole of that first super duo. And we add a seed bead, and we want to go through up through the tip of this super duo from the side that has 3 to the side that has 4. The side that has 4 is the top. So we're going up through that other hole of that super duo. Then, after we pull that tight, we want to go through the seed bead before the 3 super duos and the seed bead along the top. And again, we have our second color super duo that's not framed yet. So we add 3 11-ohs and go down through the other hole of that super duo. And we add 3 11-ohs and go up through the other hole. Pull that tight. And then we want to continue through the 3 seed beads along the top there. 1, 2, and 3. So we've got our second color super duo that's framed. So the next step is to add the 4mm bead, 3 11-ohs, the super duo in the second color, and 3 more 11-ohs, and string that on. Then we want to go through the other hole of that super duo. Pull that tight and go up through the 3 seed beads before that super duo. And it's okay if things get flipped around as you're going along. This will all get tied in together later in later rows. But I have made 3 of these components that have the 4mm bead in the middle. And I want to continue this pattern until I've made 18 of these for a 16-inch necklace. And once I've made the 18th one of these, I will show you how to finish the row and start the second row. Okay, I've just put on my 18th 4mm bead. And so now I am ready to finish off the first row. And I'm about just short of 16 inches right here, and the extra I'll add will make it up to 16. So after I've made this last component, I'm ready for another diamond. This time, since it's the last diamond, I'm going to start with an 11-oh, 3 super duos, checking both holes, an 11-oh, a 6 or 8 seed bead, and an 11-oh. This is the same as the other diamond, except for I'm not putting on a super duo here. I'm just putting a 6 or 8 seed bead. So I'm going to string that on. And I want to go through the other hole of the last super duo. And pull that tight. I'll add a super duo, checking both holes, and I'll go through the other hole of the first super duo and pull that tight. That will complete the diamond. I'll add 1 11-oh seed bead. I want to go up through this other color super duo from the side that has 3 to the top that has 4 above it. Pull that tight. And then we'll go reinforce this that we just put on by going through the last seed bead before the 3 super duos and the next seed bead. Through the large seed bead. And we're going to go through the next seed bead, the next 3 super duos, and the next seed bead. And that technically is going along the bottom. Okay, from here, we're coming out of this bottom seed bead. We want to just go up through this super duo, back down through this side, and through the next 2 seed beads. So I'm going to go up this side of the super duo and down through this side, this other side. And I'm going through 1 seed bead, but I'll also need to go through a second one. So I'll go through the second one here. Okay, so now I'm coming out through this seed bead away from the 4mm bead. Now the thread that we added here is concealed by the seed beads above it. So you don't have to worry about the thread showing there. I'm ready for my next step. I'm going to add an 11-0, a second color super duo, checking both holes, and 3 more 11-0s. This second row, we're only going to be dealing with the second color super duos and these seed beads. So string that on. And I want to go through the other hole of the super duo I just added. And I want to go up these 2 seed beads. And when I do that and pull it tight, it flips this around like that. We want to continue through the next seed bead, super duo, and seed bead. And through the next 2 seed beads. Here we add a second color super duo, and we want to go through the 2 seed beads on this side of this super duo that's not connected, so the side that's not connected to the 4mm bead. We want to go from inside pointing out, 2 seed beads there. We add 1 seed bead and go left to right through the tip of that super duo we just added. We add 1 11-0, and we want to go through these 2 seed beads that point directly up at that middle bead, that 4mm. So we've made this little butterfly looking component, and we want to get to where we can start the next one. So we're going to continue through that super duo on the inside hole, and we want to go through all 4 of these seed beads below the next super duo, starting with these 2. And the next 2. Next, we want to go through all 3 super duos along the bottom here and through the next seed bead. Like we did to start with over here, we're going to go up through this side of the super duo and down through this side of the super duo, and then through the next 2 seed beads. So we go up through this one, down through the other side, and here I'm going through the next seed bead, but I want to be going through the next two, so I go one more. And now I'm ready to make the next butterfly component here. I'm going to add an 11-0, second color super duo, checking both holes, and 3 11-0s. And I'll string that on. I want to go down through the other hole of the super duo I just added, and up through these two seed beads, which makes that one flip around. Next, I want to continue through the next seed bead, super duo, and seed bead. And through the next two seed beads. So my needle is sort of pointing up at that 4mm bead. I add the super duo, and I want to go through the side that's not connected to the 4mm bead through the next two seed beads. Add one seed bead, go left to right through the tip of the super duo I just added. Pull that tight. Add one 11-0 seed bead and go up through these two that point towards the 4mm bead. To continue, I go through this inner hole of this super duo, and I want to go through all 4 seed beads under this super duo. Start with these two, and go through the next two. Next, I want to go through all 3 super duos and the next seed bead. So we've made 2 butterfly components. I'm going to repeat this one more time just so we get the pattern. To get ready for the next one, I have to go up through this super duo on this side and down through the other side and through the next 2 seed beads, but I'm going through the first one right now and going through the second. So now I'm set up to start my next sort of butterfly component. Add a seed bead, super duo in the second color, and 3 seed beads. String that on. We want to go down through the other hole of the super duo we just added. Pull that tight. And then we want to go up through these 2 seed beads. That flips around. Continue through the next seed bead, super duo, and seed bead. and through the next 2 seed beads that are kind of pointed up towards that 4mm bead. Add second color super duo, and we want to go through the 2 seed beads not connected to that 4mm. So the seed beads under that super duo. We add a seed bead and go left to right through the tip of that super duo we just added. Add another seed bead and go up through these 2 seed beads that point up towards the 4mm bead. We'll continue through that inner hole of this super duo and through the next 4 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to continue through the bottom super duos, the 3 of them, plus the next seed bead. And we go up through the next super duo on the right side and down on the left side, and through the next 2 seed beads along the bottom here. And this sets us up to start the next one. So you just want to keep making these butterfly components all the way to the other side of the necklace, and then I'll show you how to finish the second row and start the third row. As I was doing the second row, I ran out of thread, so I'm just going to show you how I continue the thread. This is a new thread that has a needle at the other end, and I'm just going to take these 2 ends and tie a square knot. Then I take a lighter. I have a torch lighter, but you can use any lighter. And I touch that end and I touch that end. And I can feel it's created a ball at the end of both ends. So then I can kind of pull this tight. And I have a knot here that is small enough to go through my beads. So I will continue the second row until I'm at the end, and then I'll show you how to start the third row. Okay, I'm finishing up the second row and I'm ready to put on my last super duo. And I'm going to go through these 2 seed beads. Add 1 seed bead, go left to right through the tip of that super duo I just added. I add another seed bead and go up through these 2 seed beads. Then I continue through the inner hole of that super duo. And again, I want to go through all 4 of these seed beads below this super duo and through these 3 super duos, but not through the seed bead, just through, keep going through the 3 super duos. So I'll start with these 2 seed beads. And go through these 2 seed beads. And now I want to go through all 3 of these super duos and continue around these seed beads on the end through the top and the next seed bead. So I'll start by going through all 3 of these super duos. I'm going to go through the next 3 seed beads one at a time. 1, 2, and then 3. And continue through the 3 super duos and the next seed bead. Here's where we want to go down through the tip of this super duo. And then we want to go through, skip this seed bead and go through the next seed bead. Now we're ready to start the third row. We finished the second, starting the third row. And what we're going to do is add embellishments on the end of these butterfly components. So coming out of this seed bead, we're going to add a super duo, checking both holes. And we're going to go through the seed bead just before the next super duo. So through this seed bead here. We'll add a seed bead, a 4mm bead, and a seed bead. String that on. And we want to go up through only the 4mm bead. Then we add a seed bead, and we want to go through the seed bead just after that super duo. We add the second color super duo and go through the seed bead just before this super duo. Next we add a seed bead, 4mm bead, and a seed bead. String that on. We want to go back up only through the 4mm bead. Add a seed bead, And we want to go through the seed bead just after that super duo. Then we add the first color super duo, checking both holes. And we're going to go through these two seed beads just before the super duos. And if you go through the super duos, that's fine too, because we're going to continue through those all three super duos. So here I've gone through this super duo. I'm going to continue through the next two, and then the next two seed beads after that. So I've just gone through all three super duos, and I'm going to go through the next two seed beads. Next, I add a first color super duo, checking both holes. And I want to go through the seed bead just before the next super duo. Then I add a seed bead, 4mm bead and seed bead, string that on. And I want to go up through only the 4mm bead. Add 11/0 seed bead and go through the seed bead just after that super duo. Add the second color super duo and go through the seed bead just before the next super duo. Next, put on a seed bead, 4mm bead and seed bead, string that on. Go back up only through the 4mm bead. Add a seed bead and go through the seed bead just after that super duo. Add a first color super duo, checking both holes. And we want to go through the two seed beads plus all three super duos and the next two seed beads. So start with these two and the next super duo. Continuing through the super duos. And through the next two seed beads. I'm going to repeat this one more time just to get the pattern down. I add first color super duo, checking both holes. Coming out of this seed bead, and I want to go through the seed bead before the next super duo. I add a seed bead, 4mm bead and seed bead, string that on. And I want to go up through only the 4mm bead. Hold it as I pull tight. add another seed bead and go through the seed bead just after that super duo. Add a second color super duo and go through the seed bead just before the next super duo. We add a seed bead, 4mm bead, and a seed bead, string that on. Go back up only through the 4mm bead. Add a seed bead, and we want to go through the seed bead just after that super duo. Then we add a first color super duo, checking both holes. And we want to go through the 2 seed beads before the super duos and the super duos. So I'm going through 2 seed beads and one of the super duos now. Continuing through the other 2 super duos. And through the next 2 seed beads. So we just continue that all the way to the other end of the necklace, and then I'll show you how to complete the 3rd row and start the last 4th row. Okay, I'm finishing up my last component here, or the 3rd row. I'm ready to put on my last super duo of the row, and I'm checking both holes before I go through the last 2 seed beads and the next 3 super duos. I'm going to start off with the 2 seed beads and the first super duo. And continue through the next 2 super duos, but not the seed bead. Not the seed bead, just those 2 super duos. Then I'll add 2 11-0 seed beads and then go through the tip of this super duo. Here's where I'm going to start the 4th row. I'm going to add 1 seed bead, and I'm coming out of the tip of this diamond here. I'm going to go down through the tip of this super duo. Then I'm going to go down the 2 seed beads before the 4mm bead and through the 4mm bead. Then I'm going to go through the tip at the end of that 4mm bead, so through that seed bead on the end. Then I'll add 4mm bead 2 11/0 seed beads, a 4mm bead, and another 11/0 seed bead, and string that on. And I want to go back up through the last 4mm bead and the next seed bead. Then I'll add a seed bead, 11/0, and a 4mm bead, and go through the tip, the seed bead at the end of this 4mm bead. There we go. So I've just created this like drop of 4mm beads, and I'm going to continue up this 4mm bead as well as the 2 seed beads above it on the left. Pull that tight. Next, I'm going to go up this tip of this super duo. Going to add 1 seed bead and go through the tip of this diamond. Add another seed bead and go through the tip of the next super duo. And here's where I'll create another drop here. I'll add 4 seed beads, a super duo in the first color, checking both holes, and 2 more seed beads. String that on. And here's where I'll go up through the other hole of that super duo that I just added. Pull that tight. And then I'll go down the last 2 seed beads of the 4. Not through the super duo again, so just through those 2 seed beads. Then I add 2 seed beads, a 4mm bead, and another seed bead. String that on. And I want to go up through only the 4mm bead. Then I'll add 2 seed beads, go through the 2 seed beads on the side of this super duo. And I'll add 2 more seed beads, and I want to go through this super duo, the seed bead, super duo, seed bead, super duo. So start with the super duo, seed bead, and super duo. And continue through the next seed bead and super duo. Next, I want to make another one of these drops under here. So I'll start by going down the 2 seed beads before the 4mm and the 4mm. If I can't get my needle through all of those, I just go one at a time. But I was just able to get there. And then I want to go through the seed bead at the tip of that 4mm bead. add a 4mm bead, 2 seed beads, 4mm bead, and seed bead. String that on. Then I want to go up the 4mm bead and the next seed bead. Then I add a seed bead and a 4mm bead, and I want to go through the tip, the seed bead at the tip of this 4mm bead. I want to continue up the 4mm bead and the next 2 seed beads on the left. Okay, so we make sure that's pulled tight. Then we'll go up through the tip of the next super duo. Add a seed bead, go through the tip of the next super duo, add another seed bead, go through the tip of the next super duo. And here we'll create another drop like this. You add 4 seed beads, super duo of the first color, and 2 more seed beads. String that on. Then we want to go up through the other hole of that super duo, pull that tight, and then go down the last 2 seed beads on the other side. Only the seed beads. Pull that tight. If you have a thread gap, you can pull these away and then tighten. And we add 2 seed beads, 4mm bead, and a seed bead. String that on. And we want to go up through only the 4mm bead. Add 2 seed beads, go through the 2 seed beads on the other side of the super duo. Add 2 seed beads, and we want to go through the super duo, seed bead, super duo, seed bead, super duo. I'll start with super duo, seed bead, super duo. And continue through seed bead, the next seed bead, and super duo. So we're ready to make another one of these drops with the 4mm beads. We start by going down through the 2 seed beads on the right, just above the 4mm bead and the 4mm bead. And I'm going to go one at a time. Till I'm going through that 4mm bead. And let's turn it back around. we want to go through the tip, the seed bead at the tip of that 4mm bead. We put on a 4mm, 2 seed beads, 4mm, and another seed bead, string that on. Go back up through the 4mm and the next seed bead. Add a seed bead and a 4mm, and go through the tip at the end of this 4mm. And we'll continue up through this 4mm bead and the next 2 seed beads on the left. And again, if I can't get my needle through it, I'll just go one at a time. And through these 2 seed beads, just above the 4mm bead. Next, I want to go up through this tip of this super duo, add a seed bead, go through the next tip, add a seed bead, go through the next tip, now we'll make another drop like this one. I'll add 4 seed beads, super duo in the first color, and 2 more seed beads, string that on. And I want to go up the other hole, pull that tight, and then go down the last 2 seed beads. Then we add 2 seed beads, 4mm bead and a seed bead, string that on. Go back up only through the 4mm bead. Add 2 seed beads and go through the 2 seed beads on the side. Add 2 more seed beads, and we want to go through the super duo, seed bead, super duo, seed bead, super duo. So starting with the super duo, seed bead, super duo, and continuing through this next seed bead and super duo. And to get ready for the next drop, we go down through these 2 seed beads and through the 4mm bead. And if we have to go through them one at a time, that's fine. Depends on kind of how tight it's stitched. So gone through 1 seed bead, going through the next seed bead and the 4mm. Flip that back around. So basically you just need to continue alternating these drops all the way to the end of the necklace. Then I'll show you how to finish it. I'm finishing the 4th row. I'm on the last drop and putting on my last seed bead and 4mm bead. I'm going to go through the tip that's at the end of this 4mm bead. Then I'm going to go up that 4mm bead and up the next 2 seed beads on the left. Pull that tight. Here, I'm going to go up through the tip of this super duo. Add a seed bead, and then go through the tip of this super duo. Then I'll take 2 seed beads, and here is where I'm going to go through these 3 seed beads and around, and then tie a knot here with the thread that I started with. That's kind of in between these 2 super duos. So I'm going to take the 2 seed beads that I added and go through the first seed bead here. Now go through the large seed bead and through the next seed bead and super duo. And then I'll tie a knot with the string I started with. Now we just need to snip these ends and add the clasp. Okay, I've snipped the ends here, and this is the other end of the necklace, and now I'm ready to add the clasp. So I just take my jump ring and I open it. I feed it through the large seed bead. I'll add the clasp. And close it. Now there just needs to be a jump ring on this side. Take my jump ring and open it. Feed it through the large seed bead and close it. Now we have a working clasp, and that is our finished necklace.